Hey folks, this is a Nutty Knife Guy, and this is kind of a intro to the intro you're about to see. I had all kinds of trouble filming this video. I lost the footage of the first water test with the water bottle, and I thought I'd also lost the footage along with of actually hitting the wooden warpost along with the water bottle. So I filmed both of those again with a different bottle. I went out and retested, which is why you're going to see a different hat in different parts of this video. It was still all filmed in the same day, but I was making up for this. I was redoing for the technical difficulty. So you're going to see me beat the post with it twice. You're going to see the water bottle once, and I'm going to put both of the wraps. I had to film the wrap up, the end of the video, commenting on the testing twice, because I was commenting on a different test the first time. So I'm going to put my the first wrap I did last, if that makes any sense. Just in full disclosure, I didn't want to think anybody was trying to hide anything. So I'm going to put when I talk about the test that you didn't get to see, basically, I'm going to put that last because it does show that there's no blade damage and things like that. So, weird video, sorry, I don't know exactly what happened. You will also see in the first wrap-up, when I'm talking about the testing, I get interrupted by a family member, and you get to see me lovingly interact with that family member. An example of how to interact with loved ones. That might be more entertaining than anything else, I suppose. But just to let you know that the hat's going to be different, and things were messed up, but you'll still get an idea of what kind of quality knife this is. And with that, I will go and let you see how hilariously screwed up this video is. Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy. Trying to get this camera adjusted a little bit. There we go. That professional cinematography again, right guys? Forgive me if I sound a little out of breath and my voice is off and I sniffle. I'm just getting off of a summer cold that's been kicking my ass for a couple of days. But I wanted to get this in when I had some weather and the house was relatively quiet. I posted the last week that I had 4 new knives coming in. I got myself a Cold Steel OSI. I got myself a Kubi Sicario. I got myself a Dawn Warrior from Tops. And I got myself an Eafengrow model 123, if I remember right. Yes, the EF123. And I got a couple of specific requests from people who were curious of how this was going to do through the warpost, and we're going to get out there. Now the thing is this, first of all, I'm kind of reluctant to take it out to the warpost because this may be the prettiest knife currently in my collection. Look at that. It's kind of a Japanese utility knife thing. I've got kind of a Japanese utility knife thing going. Beautiful lines. I always talk about simplicity and elegance being beautiful. This is simple and it's elegant. And full tang, nice and thick, good thick G10 scales. The G10 are a little slick but not too bad. Handling qualities are fantastic. It's got jimping here right in the right place. Deep but not sharp, the way jimping should be. Very nice. And if you look at this, I should have brought those other two, the Sicario and the Dawn Warrior over, because I got these from 2 different places. I got the OSS and the Dawn Warrior from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I got this one and the Sicario from Amazon. So they came in 2 different boxes, but when I got them out, they all came on the same day, just different times of the same day. When I got the Dawn Warrior Sicario and this one, I noticed that subconsciously I had chosen very similar knives, very similar in shape and very similar in size. Maybe in the wrap-up I'll go over and get them and I'll show you what I mean. This one is the question mark because it's an Eafengrow. This is supposed to be 14C28N steel, which is supposed to be a mid-grade, the low high-end grade steel from the research I did. Now, Eafengrow doesn't have its most stellar reputation. It's one of those off-brand Chinese knives, but love them knives. He's got a great knife channel. A few years ago, he did a series of videos where he was actually able to take off-brand knives and send them off to a meddler just to see if they were the kind of steel they were being claimed to be. At that time, Eafengrow was claiming to have a lot of their folders being D2 steel. I have a couple of the D2 folders. And the interesting story there, and if I can remember to find them, I'll put links to his videos in the description. He discovered that Eafengrow was advertising D2. This was like 2000, I'm thinking 2019, maybe even like earlier than that. And it was, what was it, 317CR, one of those MOV steels, Chinese steels. But the interesting story behind that is that the man that owns the Eafengrow brand saw the video and reached out to Love Them Knives and said, you know, I don't do the manufacturing. I contract out to the manufacturing and put a brand on, right? And I didn't know that they were not using the steel that I was advertising, so I was kind of getting ripped off too because I was paying for them to use the better steel. And he told Love Them Knives that he had redressed that problem, taken care of it, and sent Love Them Knives some more Eafengrow knives to be tested, and they turned out to be real D2 steel. So, am I absolutely positive that this one is the, what is it again? I can't remember these steel numbers. 14C28N steel? No. But that information from Love Them Knives kind of gives me hope. And honestly, just from my experience of handling hundreds of knives, this doesn't feel like the cheaper steel. This feels like good steel. And it looks like good steel. And how can I articulate why? To somebody who hasn't handled as many knives and isn't into knives as I am, I really can't tell you, other than like when you just tap them with a thing, you get a thud instead of a ting. To me, that's a good sign. Just looking at the finish, the way it reflects light, there's something that, like I said, it's not scientific, it's completely subjective, pretty much intuitive, okay? But as far as I can tell, this is the better grade of steel. It came very sharp. I haven't really dealt with it yet. I don't know if I'm going to shave anything because I'm still running a temperature and I'm sweating quite a bit at this moment, so that makes taking hair off kind of tough. Let's see. Let me see if I can grab a piece of paper real quick though. Okay. This paper isn't in the best condition. You can see that's got a nice sharp edge. That's making it, I mean, nice sharp edge. That's making good clean cuts. And I haven't done anything to the edge. I got this, I think, last Friday. No, it wasn't that. I only had this for a few days. The sheath, I will show you as soon as I get it off my belt here. Should have put it on my belt, but I did. A very nice Kydex sheath. I mean, Kydex sheaths can be cheap. They can just be the fold-over variety with just a few rivets, and it can be thin Kydex. This is thin Kydex, a lot of lashing points with grommets, not just holes punched in them. It came with a clone of a Tech Lock, but this is actually a good quality clone that locks up well, and I carried this around for a few days, and it didn't come apart on me like a lot of the cheaper Tech Lock clones. So the sheath is great. It has that nice Kydex click, one of the most beautiful sounds in the universe. It's got really good retention because this guard goes right into this notch and it holds it in very tightly. Now the guard, we had a discussion on the channel and in my community page about guards on fighting knives, and this is a fighting utility knife. Just just from the shape of it, this probably has just the right amount of guard. It's got kind of a oval shaped guard, or a round, I guess you could call this a rounded triangular guard, just enough to keep your hand from sliding up the blade, but not enough to really get in the way of anything. And look at the file work on it is pretty. I kind of wish it didn't have the choil. I understand that it's supposed to be a utility knife, and it does make this really precise for fine work, but for the fighting application, if you really got good penetration, this wind up hooking on something, you really have to work to get it out of the Lizardman Zombie Ninja. But I gotta admit, the choil does add to the aesthetics. Like I said, I think this is probably the most beautiful knife in my collection currently. I just love gazing upon it. Ergos are really good. I wouldn't mind a little bit of swell on the back to kind of lock it right here to lock the hand in there. But you know, that's kind of nitpicky, and it probably wouldn't look as good that way. I may one day put some Talon grips on here to get a little bit more traction on the blade, but I really hope I don't ugly this up testing it, because I really like it, to the point where for the Cali section of double knives, I'm really thinking about buying another one. This was either $34 or $43, but I mean sub $50. And so far it is just gorgeous. It has a distill taper. So we're going to take it out to the warpost and see what happens. But we will do the drop test here in a minute, and punching test. You might have to bear with me because, like I said, my new tripod and the camera mount on it doesn't like to be tilted downward too much. So it might take me a couple of seconds to get set up to do the drop test, and hopefully I don't turn the camera off by accident like I did the last time. Let's see here. It looks like you can see what I need you to see here. Okay. Might have been having to manage the camera and drop it at the same time. Doesn't help my technique any. There we go, that was a nice drop. Yeah, I think it is just, well, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get it center in the chair because the chair is not flat. There we go. A couple of good times and it's got a nice balance. Now, if I can let go of the camera long enough without it moving, good, that works. Okay, somebody's moving upstairs, so hopefully we don't get interrupted. But you can see no edge damage. And that leads us to go outside to the warpost. See you there. Folks, this is the second time I'm doing the warpost with this one because for some reason I lost the footage of the original. That's why I'm wearing another hat. It's late evening, it's about 7 o'clock, the sun is going down, so the light might be a little off, but I really wanted to get this in. Hopefully I don't have any more technical difficulties. The first test of this was kind of weird. I'll explain that later. Well, actually I can't. I didn't get very good cuts through this. It cut through the handle really well, but I couldn't get any decent cuts through the body with this knife, and it is sharp. So that was kind of weird. We'll see what happens this time. Different bottle. This is the second time I've gone through this. And same result. It's not getting through the bottle like a lot of knives do. Try this again. Different angle. Okay, that got through, but it wasn't a very good cut. Let's try it, see if it gets through the handle again like it did before. This is not a sharpness issue. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on with it. Let's try it this way. Now there, I got decent edge alignment and it cut almost all the way through the handle. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's just this blade geometry has me screwed up. Let's try something really weird. And miss. Okay, that got through the bottom a little bit. Okay, this makes a nice interesting angle. Maybe I can get a better deal with it this way. Okay, yeah, that got a decent cut. Just get used to the knife, I guess. And I'm going to make sure I'm still recording because this camera has been screwing with me. Okay. Okay, real quick before this thing goes off on me again, let's do the warpost. Stabbing in and hopefully not hurt myself. Do the hard wax. See, you can see this thing, look at this thing is going in like ½ an inch, 3/4 of an inch. It's not sharpness on this bottle cut. There's enough water in here. Let me try this again. It's weird. When I do get good cuts, I get good cuts. There, that one went through. And I think I know what's going on with it. But we'll go downstairs while I'm sure this thing is still recording now. The final thoughts are going to be weird because I had to do this twice and it might not match up with it. And what you're seeing here might not match up with my intro about the knife. So bear with me. Technical difficulties, I still don't know what happened, but we'll try this again. Okay, the universe hates me. I don't know, the camera cut off. I don't know, maybe there's a time limit or something. But anyway, I want to show you that again. So I was getting cuts. It wasn't the knife. It must have been something I was doing. But you can see this cut did get through that I didn't notice. And that's a nice clean cut. And then the stab and rip, once I got the, so it wasn't the blade sharpness. Maybe it was just because I'm not 100% today, I don't know. But let's get the warposting done before the camera shuts off again. You can see some splinters fly. And this G10 does get a bit slippery when your hand's wet. Okay, some nice hard wax. And some more hard thrusting, even though we already did that in the chair downstairs. This wood is considerably harder than that chair. Not a whole lot of bite on this tip, but she's strong, and it'll get in there enough. But no damage. No tip damage. So go downstairs and wrap this up. Okay, the universe hates me. I don't know, the camera cut off. I don't know, maybe there's a time limit or something. But anyway, I want to show you that again. So I was getting cuts. It wasn't the knife. It must have been something I was doing. But you can see this cut did get through that I didn't notice. And that's a nice clean cut. And then the stab and rip, once I got the, so it wasn't the blade sharpness. Maybe it was just because I'm not 100% today, I don't know. But let's get the warposting done before the camera shuts off again. You can see some splinters fly. And this G10 does get a bit slippery when your hand's wet. Okay, some nice hard wax. And some more hard thrusting, even though we already did that in the chair downstairs. This wood is considerably harder than that chair. Not a whole lot of bite on this tip, but she's strong, and it'll get in there enough. But no damage. No tip damage. So go downstairs and wrap this up. Okay, folks. Weird video this time. I was usually film on Sunday, decided to film on Friday because I thought I was going to have time and not be interrupted. I was interrupted, and because I was trying to get ahead, of course, I had major technical difficulties of a nature that I'm still not sure about. Anyway, this is a second wrap-up that I had to film because for some reason the footage of my original outing with the Eafengrow model 123 to the warpost either didn't get recorded or got dumped. Anyway, I didn't have it, so I had to go out and do the warpost again. What you're going to see is the second warpost, if that recorded. And if not recorded, then you won't see this because I'm just going to give up for today. But you can see that this had kind of struggled with the water bottle test. And I don't remember which part I put the paper cutting test on, but it is a nice sharp blade. So I think what it is, it's just this has kind of a strange blade geometry that I'm not used to, and I have a really steep blade grind on this thing. But basically what it was is when I was getting the edge of a bottle, this is the second one, this is the one you saw me cut. When I can get the edge of a bottle, I got cuts. With this one I did get a good cut. It didn't seem like it at the time, but I did get a good cut. Here. And get that strap out of the way, you can see that. So it did better on the second time, probably because I was more used to the knife. Okay. Now the first one which you didn't see cut, because I don't know what happened to the footage, I got some scratches. This is a stab and rip, but the rest of them I barely got through the surface, except on the thicker part of the handle. When I got an edge, I went through. So I am not exactly sure. This is the first. I think this is the first time that I've ever had that much trouble on a water bottle with, except for the black porous one that out of the box edge was non-existent. You'll see there's going to be 2 wrap-ups. I filmed the wrap-up thinking that I had the footage of the first warpost. The first time I took it out the warpost, and I didn't. So this wrap-up is going to be talking about the warposting out there. The one that you actually got to see. So that's why the hat's different. It's the same day, it's just that the hat that I wore the first time is upstairs, and I had this one downstairs, and I just don't go outside without a hat. I just don't. But that's why this is so choppy. You'll see an interruption where I'm interacting lovingly with my family. I am going to put the first wrap up last. You'll see this, and then if you want to continue to see my impressions of a testing that you didn't see, so I scrapped the first wrap up. I got interrupted anyway, and was talking about a test that you didn't see. What you did see is the second time I took it out to the warpost. If that makes any sense. So, like I said, the hat's different, but it is the same day, same knife. Just I had to go do the testing again because somehow the footage got lost. All right. So with that horrible mistake, and also professional filmmaking, I will ask you to draw your knives only in just purpose, sheathe them only with honor, and to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Despite the massive foobar that this video is, help me appease the almighty YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm. Okay, so this is the Eafengrow EF123 fixed blade. I am still very pleased with this, but the results of the bottle cut are probably going to keep me up at night. Probably keep me awake tonight. Now again, you can see good deep cuts in these really thick parts of the handle. These are probably 3 times as thick as going through here. And the only thing I think is that for some reason the way I hold this knife doesn't let me get the right angle for the cut. Now, as I said, I did get one good solid cut here. So it's not the knife. If it's cutting through this, it's not the knife. It's something I'm doing, and I'm going to experiment with the knife more, and maybe it's just I need to modify my grip for this particular blade. After all of that, let's see how the edge held up. Pretty doggone well. might have lost a little bit, but okay, so as near as I can say, they're not lying about the steel. The 14C 28N steel, and again, if I'm out of breath and I'm sniffing and I look horrible, it's because cold. The G10 did get slick once I got the water from the bottle on my handle, so this is going to go in, well, if I can figure out the problem with getting my edge alignment right, this is going to go on my EDC rotation. And if it does, and I'm sure I will, I'm sure do a little bit more cutting with it, and I'll realize what's going on. My thinking is now that for whatever reason my hand placement on it is I'm not getting the percussion point when I hit, what people call the sweet spot. I'm cutting back here and going flat instead of at an angle, and I'm not getting decent time. I'm not getting a decent slash, which is a training issue. But quality, I mean, you can see it held up beautifully. This is a $50 knife, and I was actually really putting this to the test to try and because it was an Eafengrow, and you know, it's not a cold steel, it's not CRKT, it's not tops. I really drove this into that chair, and I really went after it with the warpost. And there's not a scratch on it, guys. I am still very pleased with this. This was the bottle cut. I am convinced was not a failure. The knife, it was my failure. It's just a knife that I had to get used to. It's just the geometry of the knife. I was actually using the jimping. I think when I practice from now on, I'll have my thumb here instead of here to hopefully get that more. So I can get an. What I want is a slice, not a chop, and I think I was getting a chop. I don't know, or like I said, I am kind of sick. Maybe I'm just off. You look at my other videos, knives have gone through those bottles. This one didn't, but it went through the toughest part of the bottle. So it didn't go through this, you know, of course it didn't go through the sides, but the toughest part of the bottle, the thickest part, it slipped through. So weird. Like I said, if you guys have ideas why that might have happened, let me know, because I'm kind of at a loss. I have my theory, but who knows? But great blade for under 50. I'm thinking I only paid $34 for this. It might be 43. I'm dyslexic and I might be switching that around. But either way, it's sub 50. And I gotta tell you, it holds up with that Sicario that I have so far. I haven't put the Sicario to the warpost, which reminds me. For the next warpost test, do you want to see the Top Stone Warrior or do you want to see the Kubi Sicario? I'm going to do both of them, but which do I do first? Let me know. But I got to tell you, I mean, this is, in my mind, these are equal. This is equal with the tops in how much I like it. But this is just so doggone pretty. So there it is. Like I said, the water bottle test is kind of freaky. I have no idea exactly why it wouldn't go through. I may just sharpen this. Now, looking at this, I got to admit, this has a pretty steep grind angle on the edge. That might be part of it. Of course, that makes the edge very strong, and when it comes to Lizardman Zombie Ninja, I don't think.
Hey, Ray?
Yes?
I can't get the little television in the bedroom to work.
Okay, I'll be up in a minute. Okay, sorry about that, folks. But I guess I'll just cut this off. I'll be up in a minute. I knew I was going to get interrupted. knew it. That might be, but that, of course, that would not affect Blizzardman, Zombie Ninja, or other ne'er-do-wells. But now, looking at the way this edge is grabbed, that could be it. So, please, with that, I will ask you to like, share, and subscribe. Feed the old-time almighty YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And I will leave you with my usual admonishment while I decide whether I'm going to edit out that interruption or just leave it in for you guys to laugh at. I almost made it to the end. I will leave you with my usual admonishment. 2. Draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor, and to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. And again, please like, share, and subscribe. Feed that almighty YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And with that, I will bid you goodbye and go play technical support for my family. Until next video.